We have finished our investigation 5, which was additional percents, and now we're moving on to reviewing for the unit, the whole book. We finished our bits and pieces 3 books, so we're going to review all of the operations that we did with decimals: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So our review, the first review that we're going to do to prepare for our unit test, were these multiple choice items. The first question: 4 stores are having a sale on DVDs. Which store is offering the best deal? You need to look at each price and figure out how they're going to work out. $3 off the regular price will give you $15.99. 10% off a regular price is $18.99 minus $1.90 would give you $17.09. 15% off the regular price of $18.99 is $18.99 minus $2.85, which gives you $16.14. Or Store 4 offers 1/4 off the regular price. So in this one, you have to know that 1/4 is 25%. You multiply the $18.99 by 25%, and that gives you $4.75. So you could have said, well, 25% is more than 10 and 15, so that's going to be obviously the biggest deal. But which is better, $3 off or 25%? So that's what it really comes down to. But it ends up being D. Choice D, $14.24 is the best deal that you can get. Question number 2. The Farwell girls softball team went out to the local pizza restaurant to celebrate their victory. Their bill came to $72. What would the amount of a 15% tip on this bill be? So we're just looking at the tip. We're not looking for the final amount. So you would take the $72, multiply it by the 15%, and that gives you $10.80, which is choice G. Number 3. A group of students went to the grocery store. The students spent $15.20 altogether. Each student spent $1.90. How many students were in the group? So this is a decimal division problem. You spent $15.20. You had, each student was $1.90, so how many students must that be? So you have to divide $15.20 by $1.90. Our divisor has decimals, so we have to multiply by 100 or move the decimal 2 places to the right on the divisor, which means we need to do the same thing to the dividend, which would move the decimal place up, and it ends up being 8. So number 3 is C, 8. 4, again, we're looking at decimal division. Which division problem does not have the same quotient as 7 and 8/10 divided by 3 and 9/10? So what you're looking here is you're looking at powers of 10 to make sure that if I move the decimal on the 7 and 8/10, that I also moved it on the 3 and 9/10. 78 divided by 39 is the same because 7.8 times 10 is 78. 3.9 times 10 is 39, so that is the same. 7.80 is really the same as 7 and 8/10. It's 7 and 80 but this 0, remember, is on the end, so it doesn't really matter. So this is exactly the same as 7 and 8/10 divided by 3 and 9/10. This last one is the same because it's just 7 and 8/10 divided by 100, which moved the decimal place 2 places to the left. So 78 thousandths and 39 thousandths are still the same. Which leaves this one, because here 7.8 was divided by 10, which moved the decimal place 1 to the left, but 3 and 9/10 was divided by 100, which moved it 2 places to the left. So your answer is H, because this one is not the same as the other one. Moving on. Number 5. Let's get my work over here. So Gabrielle bought 5 CDs. The individual cost of each CD was $14.50, $13.95, $14.99, $12.75, $16.95. What's the closest estimate? This is a decimal addition problem. So this is going back to the beginning of the unit where we were doing decimal addition. I wrote down all the numbers over here, 14 and 50 cents all the way down. And then I just did a really quick estimate where I figured out that 14 is about 15, this is about 14, this is about 15, this is about 13, this is about 17. So these two add up to 30, these two add up to 30, which would give me 30 and 30, it's 60, and 54 is 74. So the closest one to 74 is $75. So this is one where it's trying to remember if you can do decimal addition. Number 6, during gym class, Troy jumped 4.5 feet. Brendan jumped 3 and 72 hundredths feet. How much further did Troy jump than Brendan? Decimal subtraction. So this is where you have to remember that you line up the decimals. You may have to borrow. So 4.5 feet divided minus 3 and 72 hundredths gives you 78 hundredths feet. So that's H. 7. Carissa stopped at a deli to buy her lunch. She bought a turkey sandwich for $2.40, a bag of pretzels for 70 cents, and a lemonade for $1.10. How much did she pay for her lunch? Again, decimal addition, line up your decimals, add them all up, you get $4.20. Which product is the smallest? So decimal multiplication here, they're trying to see if you can remember how you assign decimals with decimal multiplication. Remember, a couple ways you could do this. You could multiply them as if they were whole numbers and then put the decimals in. I decided, since we just didn't know who the smallest was, I was going to look at how they were as fractions. So 3/10 is 1/10, 4/10 is 1/10, so 1/10 times 1/10, this would give me an answer in the hundredths. This is a hundredths by a hundredths, that would give me an answer in a thousandths. 3/10 times 4 thousandths would give me an answer in the 10 thousandths. 3 thousandths times 4 hundredths would give me an answer in the 100 thousandths. That means J is the smallest because our answer would be in the 1 over 100 thousandths or 100 thousandths. And I'm going to pause here for a second to give the secret word now so that people don't just assume it's always at the end. Today the secret word will be Shawmut, Shawmut, who is my cat. Maybe he'll make a surprise appearance in a little bit. Number 9. After which digit would the decimal be placed in the following product? So this one, they already did the multiplication and you just had to place the decimal. So if I do 2 and 4/10 times 51 and 44 hundredths, so that's the 10th, I would need to move the decimal 1 to the right. The hundredths, I'd have to move it 2 to the right. So I would take this decimal, take the 1, take the 2, and move it 3 to the right. So if I move it 3 to the left. So here I moved it to the right, so here I moved it to the left. So the decimal would go between the 3 and the 4, or after the 3. Okay, how many decimal places are in the product of 3 and 76 hundredths times 42 and 89 hundredths? So this is a hundredth times a hundredth. So you're going to get 2 decimal points, 2 decimal points, or 4 decimal points. How many decimal places are in the division of 3 and 75 hundredths divided by 25 hundredths? You could just look at it and say, well, this is a hundredths divided by a hundredths, so that means it evens out. But if you wanted to be sure, you could write it out. 3 and 75 hundredths divided by 25 hundredths. Our divisor has decimals in it, so we need to move it 2 places to the right or multiply it by 100, which means I need to multiply my dividend by 100. So the problem becomes 25 into 375, or 375 divided by 25, which has 0 decimal places. Which problem has the same quotient as 3 and 2/10 divided by 14 and 5/10? This is similar to the one that we just did, so we're just looking to see, do they have the same power as a tenth? Only this one has the same. So 32 divided by 14 and 5/10 does not, because the 14 and 5/10 stayed the same, but the 32 didn't. 320 divided by 145 does not, because that is multiplying 3 and 2/10 by 1, 2, where 14 and 5/10 only by 1, so by 10 and 100. Same with the last one. The last one's the same powers. It's 14 and 5/10 and 3 and 2/10, but they swapped the order. It's not the same problem anymore. It's not 3 divided by 14, it's 14 divided by 3. Which leaves H, which is the same because it's 3 and 2/10 times 10 is 32. 14 and 5/10 times 10 is 145. So those would be the same problem. Okay, and as promised, here's a special appearance by Shawmut, Shawmut, Shawmut. Shawmut. He's my big cat. He's my 17-pound cat. So that's Shawmut. And maybe next recording we'll have an appearance by Seltzer. Thank you. See you in class.